Potential strata corruption. Let's have a look. Hello everyone, Florian Heise here and welcome to another episode of Heise Says. I have my stein of coffee and I thought we'd go through this article about strata and maintenance contracts in Northern Territory. So Territory apartment owners demand time limits on building caretaker contracts. And the time frame's just crazy. Before we jump into this article, I'll just draw your attention to another video I did. This one is, well, just to do with some of the issues in Darwin with regards to slabs and construction buildings. The Northern Territory essentially did an investigation, found there were issues with a whole lot of buildings, as one engineer did, and didn't release the information. So they had a whole lot of non-compliant buildings. Could jump over there and have a look at that if you want to just get a bit of a feel for how the Northern Territory is doing. It seems to be more and more confidence in the construction sector every day. And Strata, this is an interesting one, and I am going to just move my capture over there so you can see it. So this is an interesting one. Northern Territory apartment owners have called for changes to caretaker agreements. Laws that allow property developers to appoint their relatives to long-term building caretaker contracts should be changed to better protect unit owners in the Northern Territory, the Owners Corporation Network says. I mean, this just screams of potential corruption and an insane conflict of interest. So the key points in this article: a Darwin developer's wife's company was appointed as caretaker for 25 years. 25 years. Wow. In New South Wales, caretaker contracts are limited to 10 years and have specific disclosure requirements. The NT government has been urged to change its strata laws to better protect unit owners. Wow. It's just 25 years. It comes after residents in a Darwin apartment complex raised concerns that a company owned by the wife of the building's developer was contracted to oversee cleaning, maintenance and repairs for $120,000 per year for 25 years. Well, it's obviously because his wife's business is the best one suited to the job. I mean, why not just make money developing the business when you can maintain it for that long? Wow. Or developing the building. Under the Northern Territory's Unit Title Scheme Act, such caretaker agreements are permitted because there are no time limits on contracts or disclosure requirements to outline personal connections between the parties. But Richard Sager, who purchased his unit in the Catalyst building in the Darwin CBD last year, believes it doesn't have the interest of our body corporate at heart. Now, Catalyst is a building we discussed at before with regards to some of these other structural issues. So it's coming up again. So, isn't it just crazy that you've got the person that built it creating a situation which his wife can take on this agreement? I think a lot of developers do that. That's why aged care is so popular. All these people building these aged care developments all over the place. You know, because then they've got full control over it. And they're making money when you come in, they make money when you go out, they make money when they build it, they make money in ongoing maintenance. It's just crazy. So national body seeks better protection for unit owners. The Owners Corporation Network, which represents unit owners across Australia, has called on the NT government to adopt policies that provide greater protections for people who buy into apartment complexes. The Owners Corporation needs to have the free choice to select, on a competitive basis, the people who are going to be looking after their assets in the long term, the network's chairman, Phil Gall, said. Yes, it does. That just seems completely normal. You know, this doesn't seem like an innovation, guys. Being able to freely pick who you want to maintain your building, this doesn't seem like an innovation. This is the thing, where people are just so used to, it's another potato one, another cartel. He said New South Wales had introduced regulations that limit caretaker contracts to 10 years and required appointed caretakers to disclose any personal connections they have with the original owner of the building. So it'd be entirely appropriate for the Northern Territory to look very carefully at what's being done to address these problems in other jurisdictions, Mr. Gall said. The caretaking agreement for the Catalyst building was set up at the body corporate's first annual general meeting in 2025. Sorry, in 2015. I need a shot of coffee, you know. Minutes obtained by the ABC showed 2 people were in attendance, a representative from the body corporate management company, Whittles, and the building's developer, Andrew Militos. Mr. Militos, then acting as the sole registered proprietor of all the units and sole member of the body corporate, appointed a company called Dragon Knight Proprietary Limited as the building's caretaker. The caretaker agreement shows Dragon Knight Proprietary Limited is owned by Mr. Militos's wife, Savasti Sabina Militos. The caretaker fee was set at $120,000 per year, with the contract lasting 25 years. Well, good work if you can get it. Wow. So this is it. So he's setting up a deal where all future purchases are locked into this. This is very similar in some ways, and I'll link to this video here. I'm going to write it down. 6 minutes? 6 minutes in. To the integrated networks. Integrated networks, where another party is contracting you to these ongoing conditions that you had no point in negotiating. Oh, there you go. There you go. Is that fair? You know? What do you think, guys? Doesn't feel like it, does it? Such agreements are permitted under the Northern Territory regulations. The ABC approached Mr. Militos, but he declined to comment. Calls for change to regulations in favour of unit owners. So the ABC has been told of several other apartment complexes in Darwin, which were built by different developers that have similar caretaking agreements, all of which are allowed in the NT. Mr. Sager said the Territory's regulations were unfair. I think the NT government needs to recognise there are some gaps here in the way they've allowed this legislation to be created, and they need to step up and intervene, he said. The NT Attorney General, because there's a conflict of interest here, there could be something that within the dilapidation period of the building, the defects and liability period, where it could be a issue with regards to the construction methodology, but because the company has a conflict of interest with the original builder, they won't report it as such, and they'll claim it as just general wear and tear. The body corporate may not have the knowledge or appreciation of what's going on. There probably wasn't an architect administering the project, so they're not coming in to check it, to contract administer it. So then they could be double dipping. The builder could do a dodgy job, then he could make more money from the repairs. Sorry, the maintenance work. Wow. Wow. There you go. There you go. What do you reckon, guys? A lot of this has to do, it all comes back to the way these buildings are procured, and just the lack of understanding in the general populace of how buildings are procured and putting too much trust in certain parties. And the NT Attorney General, Natasha Files, said she would ask her department to examine the New South Wales legislation, but she would not commit to enact similar laws. We certainly won't rule anything, but certainly wouldn't rule anything out at this stage. We look at the New South Wales changes, which I understand are the most modern to date across all the jurisdictions, and make sure that we have the transparency, which I think is what all Territorians will see. I doubt that these changes will make much difference. You'll still be locked in for a decade there. There's more fundamental issues here. Unit owners face ongoing uncertainty. For unit owners at the Catalyst building in Darwin, the caretaker contract is not the only issue they've had to deal with over recent months. In April, they received orders from the Northern Territory government to rectify important structures in their building known as transfer slabs that were deemed to not meet the National Construction Code, and I've discussed that in the video I mentioned before. The Department of Infrastructure Planning and Logistics said the non-compliant issues, which were also affecting several other buildings across Darwin and Palmerston, was linked to the work of structural engineer John Scott of JWS Consultants. Mr. Scott has since been referred to the Building Petitioners Board for alleged professional misconduct, but there's been no hearings at this stage. Mr. Scott has previously not responded to the ABC's request for comment. There's no suggestion that Mr. Militos or his company and Constructions were responsible for the non-compliance issues. Unit owners at the Catalyst are yet to learn how much it will cost to resolve the non-compliance issues in their building. So there you go, guys, another issue in the ongoing apartment disaster of our nation. I mean, bloody hell. What do you think, guys? Have you been in this situation? Are you living in an apartment and have issues with the body corporate and these maintenance contracts? Would it be a nightmare to get out of? I put money that it would. Anyway, like, share and subscribe. Let me know what you think in the comments. And if you'd like to help me produce more of this type of content, I have a Patreon and Subscribestar that you can for financial support. I also have referral links like Amazon and eBay, where if you make a purchase using that, I get a small commission. And don't worry, I'm declaring it now publicly, so there is no conflict of interest like someone's wife getting a $125,000 a year caretaker contract on an apartment building. Anyway, guys, take care, have a great day, and I'll see you all later. Bye for now.